Welcome to the Great Debaters Contest, Kiambo edition. Je suis Austin Yombok.
And Mariam Bashar. Welcome to the show. Today we have two giants going head to head. I'm talking about the Brook School and St. George's Girls High School. And they're debating on a very current topic about whether student politics are divisive and promote political violence and should therefore be banned. We'll have the debaters take the stage now and wow us. Proposal number 1, you have 3 minutes.
My sincerest apologies to my opponents if my voice sounds a little bit intimidating. It's a bit chilly, and I'm down with a cold. But I'm also down to propose this motion that states that student associations promote divisiveness and political violence and should be banned. What are student associations? These are bodies that have been put in place to amplify the student voice by mobilizing grassroots power to win concrete victories on student issues. Such an appealing objective, don't you think? Why then should such associations be banned? I will start by talking about superiority complex. What do I mean by this? We know that student association leaders have a lot of power of influence. What do they use with this power of influence? Manipulation. They manipulate those that they serve to actually serve them. While we know that associations are formed to go for the greater good, they actually use the members for dirty work, if I may say. So, the negative influence on the students makes them do such bad things that actually bring us down and not build our country to become better. I will take an example, looking at the political side. If Party X is supporting me as a contestant and they're giving me financial assistance, I go to my members and I tell them, hey, I want to become the next leader. What do? They vote for me as I bribe them. What will happen to them? They will become obliged to my party, giving them no freedom of expression, no right to actually say no. It depends, it all comes down to what I want, not what they want at the end of the day. Hence, you're limiting freedom for people. You're limiting their way of thinking, making them slaves. I don't think that is what we work for. I really don't. So, your freedoms end where my rights begins. I will talk on tribalism. We do know that tribalism is actually something that's really trending on our country, and it's really bringing us down as Kenyans. But do you think there's anyone outside there who really cares? At the end of the day, we'll still say tribalism this, tribalism that. But no one really does anything about it, to be honest. Maybe deep down in our hearts, but on the outside, I don't really think so. Looking at student associations, political leaders use them for their own personal gain because they know these are youths I'm dealing with, and they actually have power of influence. They can actually influence their fellow youth into maybe, let's say, voting for me, getting that work done. I will not mention names, but we do know what goes on in our country. We do know such sagas as Masikeino, the late, and we are not ready. I don't think we are ready to be used for tribalism acts. Hence, student associations should be banned. From my perspective, my team and I only have room for banning of student associations. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes for your opening arguments.
I have a nice voice, by the way. So, the name is Veloni Anzaya, current president of the Brook School and future president of Kenya, 2047. I hope you vote for me, please. First and foremost, I'd like to say that the student associations promote participative decision-making. This means that the subordinates are given an opportunity to take part in making decisions. The student leaders, that is the Secretary General and the chairperson, they usually sit at the University Senate and Council to represent the interests of the students. At this level, we are able to see that such people, they are exposed and their reasoning is expounded since they have sat with people who have experienced things from time immemorial. They have been able to understand the university well enough. They know what they should do. And so when one is able to sit with such a person, they're able to think critically They're able to expound on what to do. They're able to know the best way to decide and know how to deal with certain issues that are difficult, and thus being fair. Next is that they are also breeding grounds for future political leaders. Take an example of Mwandawiro Mganga, Wanyeri Kihoro, James Orengo. I'll expound on James Orengo. I have a magazine of him. It's today's, actually. If you want to see it, you can come see me later. It says that for 43 years, he has fought for our democracy. He was also part of the fight for the multi-party. James Orengo is a good example. He was in the UN, and he fought a lot. He has been able to bring up a lot of things that have made Kenya to grow. And I want to pose this question. Will you be able to live with the guilt that you participated in the decision-making of banning students' associations, yet it's from that point that Kenya will develop? Will you live with that guilt, knowing that if the student association was still here, the leaders that we would have had would be better? They would have the knowledge, they would have an open-minded ideas and be able to help all of us grow. Will you? Thank you.
We'll hear rebuttals, beginning with the ladies of St. George's. You have 3 minutes.
The eye sees what the mind knows. So the mind knows that for me to get certain things, I have to demonstrate. I have to go out on the street and fight for them. That is exactly what will be exhibited in my action, and that is how I will be perceived. I strongly propose this motion that student associations that perpetuate violence should be banned. The reason is, institutions lack many things. Institutions lack books, lack security. So if you think that your lack of a certain need is reason enough for you to go out in the street and loot people's property, then I don't think you are learned. I believe that we can all sit down, since we are literate, and solve these problems just the way we are. Like, for example, who accounts for these people who are hurt during this demonstration, the people who die during these demonstrations? What about the immense loss of property? Who accounts for them? The answer is quite simple: no one. Student associations are an avenue for violence, and they shouldn't be given a chance. The abolition of family rule by student leaders just because they can't causes violence among the students. We all know about student leaders who have been in power for way too long. They cause tension among the students. I believe that a learning institution should be used for that, learning. Why should we have a leader who, just because they feel that they can rule, that nobody can lead these students better than them, stay there? Why? Is there a reason? No. I believe that students have the right to get their views heard, not under umbrellas called student associations, but they can do them the way they want them to be solved, like through an open door policy. And student associations also offer an avenue or a platform for the recruitment for the wrong purpose and the wrong dealing. Like, for example, drug dealing and cultism. We all know for a fact that not all students who are in these associations are in there for the right reasons. Not all these leaders are there to get their reasons addressed. People come there for their different purposes, and they're backed by leaders in our society. We all know that the student leaders, most of them have links with political organizations. How does this emphasize or air out the views of the student? I don't think it does. I believe that students have the right to get heard, but not through being used politicians, but through using politicians, rather. I believe that my opponents say that these student associations, they offer a breeding ground for future leaders. What future leaders? Future leaders that go ahead and parade the students to go and attack an institution. Future leaders that encourage students to fight with the others, that cause attention between students. Fellow audience, societies rarely change. We are inheritors of our past. Student associations that perpetuate violence should therefore be banned. Thank you. Thank you.
Corner Brook will hear your rebuttal. You have 3 minutes.
In front of you, the young jolly from the Corner Brook School, Maxwell Mbogwa, future Deputy President 2047, strongly saying, give us facts. Who, which student association, which member killed a person? Tell us who. A student association allowed armored vessels in order to perpetuate this political violence. No, they were just busy putting out their issues, and the police just came, just because they were impatient, began triggering tear gas canisters here and there. The Bill of Rights, Chapter 4, Article 36, I have a freedom of demonstration, picketing, and petition. Sticks and stones break my bones, but words do not hurt. Where are my words hurting anyone? By me saying, I'm not comfortable staying in my hostel, where does it hurt you? Then you're telling me I'm not supposed to put out my demands, my queries, just because at your comfortability, because you think a student association should not be there. I think our opposers, you should come to our side and support us, because you have said freedom of expression. Yes, your freedom to expression, freedom of association. If you have a freedom to association, then why are you associating yourselves with people who are manipulating you? Don't you have a thought? Don't you have a brain to think for yourself? Are you a muppet? Are you a puppet? What are you trying to tell us? On to my first point. There are avenues through which students can air out their grievances. These associations clearly show us that we can air out our views. Why do I say this? 17th of February, 2015, Tuesday, Technical University of Nairobi in Kenya and the University of Nairobi protested in the streets of Nairobi over delayed distribution of HELB loans. This forced the management of the higher education to come down, commit themselves in order to distribute those HELB loans. The HELB loans were distributed 20th February 2015. St. George's, let's do some mathematics. 17th February, 18th February, 19th February, 20th February, pop, money's there. Due to protests. Instead of sitting down, saying they know we don't have HELB loans, I think they'll tell themselves that we need HELB loans. No, they went to the roads and demonstrated, saying we want our HELB loans. Instead of sitting there, how long could have they waited? A day, a week, a month, deathbed, or maybe even eternity. This is just a clear indication that we are supposed to have these student associations because, one, they air out our views, and two, they are very democratic. So, by you saying we don't have associations, I don't think it's the right way to go. Thank you.
The proposers have been asked if there are not more creative ways that we can have to deal with the problems associated with student organizations as opposed to just outrightly banning them. And the opposition have been asked what significant impact did former student leaders such as James Orengo have, and what student organizations were they in such that they can justify the continued existence of student organizations. We'll have them respond now. Third proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Same script, different cast. Not so recently, but I am allowed to use the word recently, ECK, the Electoral Commission of Kenya, was changed. It was disbanded, and IEBC came up. ECK had complaints of corruption and dishonesty and non-transparency in their actions. And currently, so if I may say, IEBC is also facing close to the same implications. And you're working, and I believe Grace's question was, why not find a different way of dealing with these associations? It's because those different ways might also prove to be very ineffective, so to speak. If I may move on to support my fellow proposers in everything they have said. During Moi's time, student organizations, back when Kenya was a de jure, that is a one-party state by law, leaders of these student organizations were used to transmit information to the government. Information that helped and that eventually presented the citizens' problems to the government, and much as those leaders were oppressed, harassed, beaten, a message was passed across. But then again, that was back when. Right now, student organizations have drifted from their point, drifted from why they exist now. They have gone from stating the students' problems and stating how important or how much importance those problems hold to them wanting something and them demanding that they should get it now, forgetting that our government has other ministries, other things to handle. I am sorry, much as we're the Ministry of Education, it is belonging to the Ministry of Education, and everything we do or say is important in our future or in upholding our future. This is Kenya, and Kenya does not only rely on education to proceed. When Barack Obama was to come to Kenya, there was a vote or a suggestion that one university was to go and suggest, or rather go and present themselves to State House and interact with him. And one organization, name withheld, threatened that if they were not to be chosen, they would demonstrate and they would riot, all in negation of this act, all in an attempt to say that they should have been chosen. And is this the message they are supposed to be spreading, really? So many universities have student organizations. Are we trying to say that those universities don't deserve to be chosen for any other purpose because you feel that you're superior to every other person, because you feel like you have much better things to say, because you feel like you're more important? Is that the message you're spreading, that another university is not better than me, so you should pick me? Because that is the message that this specific student organization was spreading, among others. Student organizations have drifted from their point. Student organizations have become selfish with their actions, and thus they should be banned because it is the only way. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes to respond.
A question from the audience on James Orengo. See, Lifestyle magazine, part of the Sunday Nation, Sunday, May 22nd, 2016, says, Mr. James Orengo first publicly ruffled feathers on the national stage in 1973 when, as president of the University of Nairobi Students' Union, he led protests to wrest the prestigious architectural department from what he called the firm grip of Asians and Europeans. What impact made? He managed to get the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Josephat Karanja, who would later become Kenya's Vice President, to order a review of the marking process. I believe the question has been answered. St. George's, one of you spoke on all students, all university having students association. Hasn't it rang a bell, like why? Why do they all have to have student associations? You're saying they should be banned. So what's supposed to be put in place? If every university in the entire world is having the same mentality, I'm shocked you're here telling us to go against the entire universe and just cancel out everything. In 1918, in Cordoba, somewhere in South America, was when these students' associations really began. And that marked development and dawn of a new era. See, these associations, they provide an avenue for students to explore talents and to earn a living. 2012, Njairi Maina became Miss University Africa after starting her modeling career at Maseno University, an event dubbed Miss Maseno. Now, she has brands countrywide, worldwide. Why did it start? Student association, the same one that she was for. Personally, in our school, we do have a student association. As an artist, I've released several projects, And the first people to push out my projects are the Student Association, the president, and the captain of justice and discipline. And across, if you have viewed our people in the crowd, the black sweaters, these people have helped me in marketing. They've helped me push out my talent, explore. These student associations are actually bringing advantages. They claim violence, violence, violence. Till when will we stop looking at the negatives for a change? They've had so many positive things done, but we are here focusing on one bad thing they've done. So they've rioted. It's their right. They are supposed to be heard. What happens when you walk up to the administration as one student with no student association and you say, the school fees has been increased, I have a problem? You'll be told, okay, you're one person. We are running an institution with like lots of people. So you're the only one being affected. One loss. It's okay, you can go. But as a student association, what will happen? You'd actually be hard for a change. So probably St. George's want to tell us that once they've eliminated all these student associations, add CU, for example, for the disabled, who will speak for them? Why would you want to ban Christian Union? I mean, they're just worshiping after all, right? Thank you.
We'll hear final statements. St. George's, you have a minute.
Because we're doing this, before you is Anna Ching from the St. George's Girls, a future promoter of peace and sanity. So now, my opponent has said that because one person might go to another person and give a complaint of school fees in the school, they might not act on it. What makes you think that one person will go to that organization and they will act for the mere fact that it is an organization? What facts do you have to back up your statement? Another thing, you said something about open-mindedness. How about you also keep an open mind? How about you believe that the university will back you up? How about you just how about you work with your university for a better society and not keep promoting the youth who are being, if I may say, a bit immature in the ways they are handling everything, who are being very selfish, so to speak, in the way they are handling everything just so that you can be heard. All in all, we have to keep an open mind, and this open mind has to be sane. Thank you.
Opposition, you have a minute for your final statement.
Jacobian again. Knowledge and integrity. St. George's sounds familiar, right? Integrity and knowledge, it's one and the same. So a leader is supposed to have integrity and knowledge. The fact there's a leader can't lead on his own. One man has never been, a man is not an island. You need people. And this applies straight down to these student associations. Saying that, what if one person you go talk to this association, how sure are we that they'll air out, okay, once you increase school fees, you don't have to go and tell the association can see for itself. School fees has been risen. Alarming rates. What do we need to do? Most of us can't afford, or we can afford, but it's still hurting our pockets in the end, so we need to speak out. These student associations are great help. Whether you like it or not, they're supposed to be there. You have prefects in your school for a reason. They're there so that as a direct link between the principal and the students. And have you ever asked yourself, why is it that schools have principals? Why can't you as a student go and head the same school you're studying at? Food for thought.
Caroline, thank you for defining and the submissions that you gave. But the question that came across, especially to all of you as a team, is what alternatives are you going to give for the students' concerns that they want to address to the administration or even to the government? Dorcas, you're a cross-examiner. And so you listen to your opponents and hit them hard if they are giving you insufficient submissions. So we didn't hear rebuttals from your end. And the question still stands out, what are the alternatives to offer? Good speaker, I think you can work on your style so that you're quite stronger when you're delivering your points. And, well, I think you're fairly strong, and I listened to you very well. You know, good current examples, good speaker, good reasoning, and good ending as well. So I feel we need to understand more and check more, because these things are coming up with the number of universities we have. There are lots of things that are coming up in universities, and student associations are really coming up strong. Even the national television stations are now giving them even platforms to express their views. So there was a lot of things you could have said, but all the best for what you did.
I'm going to address Corner Brook High School. The motion touches on policy, and there are two things you do. You look at the merits or demerits of what the motion is propounding. You had two options: one, to advocate for the banning of those students' associations or reviewing of those students' associations. You took the latter, and that is the former rather, that is the banning of those associations, which is okay. Jacob, maybe you're the one that brought the motion home, because I was telling my colleague that there's a lot that we can say, right from high school even level. There's a lot that we can say, and I'm happy that you did not just look at students' associations in terms of university. Of course, I know we talk a lot about it in terms of the universities, but you said we can also look at it in terms of the various high schools that we are in. And you raised the interesting thing about fees and many other factors. Sometimes just food can cause a lot of problems in school. You know, people say the food, the portion that was allotted to me was too little. Some say the food was bad, and we can have the unions to voice the complaints. So the unions are important, and I think you're the one who brought the motion home, in as much as the other team players could have helped you. So when you're given a motion, look for the best way to approach the motion and the best examples that you can go for. Local examples. Start from where you are as a student before you hit the global, before you go to the world and give us examples from that particular perspective. But most importantly, take note of the examples that you choose. If you go for a certain leader, pick something out of that leader and said, there might be so many debates around this particular person, but I want to talk about this particular thing that he has done or she has done to ensure that this country has grown. So fair presentation from your team.
St. George's Girls, the judges awarded you 66%. Please give them a round of applause. Your opponents, Corner Brook High School, have 68%, making them the winners of this debate.
Congratulations to the two teams on stage. We would like also to thank our studio audience and our viewers back home. We urge you to keep the conversation flowing on Twitter at Great Debaters EA and all our other social media platforms. I'm Austin Yombok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. Thank you for watching.